Welcome all the way from London.
Thanks for the introduction, George. Hopefully everybody can hear me down the back. As said, my name is Alistair MacGregor, representing TripAdvisor. Just before I get cracking today, just like to get a feel for the room, if I may. So, I have hands in the air if you're representing hotels or B&Bs. Okay, restaurants. We got any restaurants here? Attractions and tours, perhaps? Self-catering? Okay, venues? Okay, and miscellaneous, perhaps? Okay, there we go. So, as said, hopefully this isn't too focused on serviced accommodation today. The purpose of my presentation is educational, really. So, what I want to do is really help you all make the most of your presence on the site. What I'm going to focus on first is our growth and vision strategy for 2013. So, I'll do special reference to Facebook and what we're doing on mobile. Then I'll talk a little bit about our management centre. So we have a free set of tools that we have designed to help you really make the most of your presence on the site. So can I just have a show of hands, who's using the management centre already? Okay, who doesn't know what I'm talking about? Okay. So yeah, we'll focus on that, responding to reviews, and then I'm going to talk a little about business listings, which is the part of the business that I ultimately represent. So just to fill you in, where does TripAdvisor actually fit into the equation as we see it? The next slide, the numbers won't quite add up for you, but we have 200 million unique visitors on the site every month. So just to put that into context, that's the population of the UK threefold and a bit. So they're unique visitors. 100 million reviews already on the database, 2.5 million businesses listed on the site, and 60 new contributions going up every minute. So by the time I finish speaking, the chances are that one of you will have a review or a photo that has been uploaded to the site. As you can see, we are more popular in Europe than we are anywhere else in the world. Our growth curve is exponential, so you can also see that we've got superficial coverage in the emerging markets of Latin America, Africa, and Asia. So as those emerging economies produce a bigger middle class, it's logical to think that we'll have more and more people who are contributing reviews to the site. And I guess my point is today that with TripAdvisor, the genie is very much out of the bottle now. It's not going back in. So I'm not so naive to think that for everyone that loves us, we're also loathed. But I really want to get the message across is that consumer behaviour has changed. People are enjoying engaging with the site. And we really want you to help you make the most of your presence on the site to increase occupancy, get more visitors. So exponential growth, as I said before, 37% year-on-year growth through Europe. In city centres in the UK, we see even higher numbers than that. At the moment, all of your businesses are getting exposure on something like 30 different sites in 21 different languages, so a real global exposure. And then another common misconception about TripAdvisor is that our reviews only appear on the TripAdvisor site. In reality, we experience 300 million visitors a month on third-party sites as well. And this is another point that I want to try and get across today. Consumer purchasing behaviour has really changed. Who here uses Amazon? Okay. And just think about when you're buying an iron or a toaster or a TV, something pretty mundane. You're far less interested in the manufacturer's specifications about what you're buying than what you are about other people who have purchased that product. And you might not even go down as far as reading the reviews. You just want to see that there's an average score of 3 or 4 or 5 out of 5. So my point is that reviews are certainly not something which is accommodation-centric. It's something that we're seeing in every industry. And TripAdvisor just happens to be the world's most popular travel review site. The other thing that I'd like to stress is that all of these companies that you can see, all of these blue chip companies, are using TripAdvisor reviews on their site, A, because they don't want to recreate the wheel. In other words, we've got 100 million reviews on the database already. Why would they go out and collect their own? And then also they recognise that consumers want to see reviews when they're purchasing products, so if they can display those TripAdvisor reviews there, they're more likely to either get the person to purchase through their path and get a commission, or keep them on the site. Another common misconception, which is a very logical argument, but in reality isn't true is that only people who've had a bad experience leave a review. So that would kind of make sense, huh? But in reality, when we dissect those 100 million reviews in the database, you can see the significant majority, my maths isn't very good, but something like 78% of them are 4s or 5s out of 5. So in reality, we're seeing a lot more raves than rants. Unfortunately, in a service industry, which we all are in tourism, there are going to be bad days. It would be naive to think that you're not going to get a bad review. Sometimes the tourism service provider has a bad day. Sometimes guests will have guests or visitors. Sometimes they have a bad day. So it will happen, and what I'm going to talk about a little bit later on is how to respond to those negative reviews and why you'd consider doing that in the first place. Okay, so before I kind of talk about the TripAdvisor Management Centre, I just thought that I'd focus on, I don't know how many of these kind of conferences you come to, but everyone's talking about social with special emphasis on Facebook, mobile, and then us, TripAdvisor. So I'm just going to kind of ram these topics down the throat even further. Facebook. So who's got a Facebook account? Okay, so I think most of us do nowadays. 1 billion in the world, the UK, about half of the UK's population are on Facebook, so it's a very relevant platform, let's say. We have integrated with Facebook, so next time, that's probably what I should have asked you at the beginning, who uses TripAdvisor for their personal travel? Okay. And hopefully your decision-making process is probably influenced by the reviews that you read. One of the things that we've done to take it to the next level is you can actually log into TripAdvisor using your Facebook details now. So we call this the concept of instant personalization. And what will happen is that your friends on Facebook, the reviews that they've left, as well as the friends of their friends, will be drawn to a prominent level, to your attention, in other words. The idea is that you're far more likely to be influenced by the review that's left by a friend, or a friend of one of your friends, than you are about to be influenced by a stranger. So the way that we created this was, there's an application called Cities I Have Visited, and we've got something like 1 billion people that have put, 220 million people have put 1 billion pins into the map. And what they're indicating is hotels that they've stayed at, restaurants they've eaten at, bars they've got drunk at, attractions they've visited, so forth and so on. And what we see, once you jump on to TripAdvisor with your Facebook details, that's kind of what it looks like there. Okay, so the conversion levels are a lot higher. And there's some stats just to back up what I've been saying, so I think it's common sense really. You're far more likely to be influenced by someone that you know, or as a friend of someone that you know. Otherwise, I guess you're looking for a certain level of language which might indicate that they're similar to you on a socio-economic level or whatever. Mobiles as well, I won't get you to put up your hands for mobiles because clearly you've all got mobile phones. In the UK and in Western Europe, most people are using smartphones, so all accessing the internet, checking emails, so forth and so on. So what we've done is we've built a TripAdvisor application. I don't know if all of you have got it. It's free to download on your phone. Here's another massive number, 45 million unique visitors to the mobile site every month. In my opinion, which doesn't always necessarily reflect the opinion of the company, mobile will eclipse desktop in the foreseeable future. So the TripAdvisor application is coming down at 26 times a minute. It's the world's second most popular application and very, very interesting space for us. We're doing things like city guides, walking tours, and then we also have the concept of augmented reality or object recognition, so you can be sat in the Llanelli High Street and you can use the camera facility on your phone to see where you are. It uses Google Maps, and then what happens after that is it overlays all of the cafes, restaurants, attractions near where you are with those TripAdvisor reviews. So that's kind of where the world's going, and that's where we're spending lots and lots of time investing money and developing technology. Okay, so enough about Facebook and what we're doing on mobile. What I'm going to focus now is on the management centre, so a set of free tools that we have designed for you as hoteliers to make the most of your presence on the site. This is probably, I'm going to run through it very, very broadly, but the most important thing today for those of you that haven't registered with the management centre is to do that. Hopefully I've got a slide to show you how to do that. So I'm sure Nia will make this presentation available to everybody, but The magic URL is tripadvisor.com or .co.uk/owners. And the reason this is so important is it gives you an avenue to do two things. One is to take ownership of your listing on the site, which is incredibly important. We'll talk about that in just a moment. And the other is to engage with us as a business. So I'm sure lots of you have got some interesting questions for me later on. You may or may not be aware that we have a customer services team based in London now. 16 or 17 strong. You can call us on the phone. We'd be the first to admit that our public face has almost been non-existent. You wouldn't have got someone in a room maybe 2 years ago. We'd be the first to admit that we haven't reached out to the industry as best we might have, but I don't think anyone ever foresaw the big growth of TripAdvisor. And now we're desperately trying to fill in those gaps retrospectively, if you like. So the way that you take ownership of your business on TripAdvisor is as follows. You jump onto tripadvisor.co.uk/owners, and then the easiest way to verify your identity is via Facebook. That's the quickest way. The other option, whoops, that probably can't go back now. The other option for you is to supply credit card details. So we don't take any money off the account, but we're just using software to make sure that your credit card billing address matches up with your business address. And then the most onerous way, the way that I wouldn't suggest, is to scanning and emailing in some ownership deeds. Okay, so what I'm going to talk about is just a few things that you can do once you're within that management centre, and the first of which is to encourage guests to write more reviews. So hopefully I don't do this in too much of a roundabout way, but one question that I get asked a lot when I'm out and about is that popularity index. What influences that? How do I get from being a lowly ranked property in a destination up to the top? Why would you want to be up the top? Well, logically, the higher up you are, the more viewership you get. The more viewership you get, the more business you can hopefully leverage off the site. So the popularity index is fueled by an algorithm, which is a fancy word for a formula. It's computer generated, so there's not kind of a set of boffins with thick glasses in there deciding who goes up. It's done by a computer formula. And there are lots and lots of factors. Some are online, others are offline. An example of offline in service accommodation is the size of a property. So we see that a B&B with 4 bedrooms next to a big hotel with 100 is going to get a lot less reviews because of its occupancy capacity, so that's taken into the equation. So there's nothing that you can do about some of the offline factors there. What you can take control of is the 3 online factors that that algorithm gives the most weighting, the first of which is to encourage guests to write reviews. So in other words, that algorithm looks at the volume of reviews coming through, granted that we look at the size of the property. So how might you go about doing that? Within the management centre, we provide you with 2 sets of tools. So offline example would be you can print out business cards or flyers, and when someone checks out of the hotel, say, well, would you mind writing a review for us? Okay, and you can even decide who that flyer gets. If they're a difficult customer, then that flyer might stay in the back pocket. The other way to do it is online, so we have a whole lot of widgets, okay, that you can actually embed on the site, and that will encourage people to hopefully leave a review when they come back to the site. We've also just developed some email technology, so you can actually send an email out to a post-day guest. Dear Alistair, we hope you had a good time. Would you care to write a review here? So you can be quite proactive about this. Okay, the recency of the reviews is very important. So the algorithm gives higher weighting or more consideration to a review that comes through yesterday or the day before than it does for a review that's 10 weeks old and so forth and so on. Old reviews do cease to have any weighting whatsoever after a certain period of time. I don't know what that is, and they wouldn't tell me anyway, so the algorithm is a closely kind of guarded secret. It's down there with KFC and Coca-Cola and safe somewhere. But if there is a possibility to get rid of old reviews, so there's 2 or 3 things you can do. A change of ownership, but we don't know whether the ownership's changed, so you need to tell us through the management centre and get rid of all the old reviews and photos. A refurb, okay, so lots of you will undergo significant refurbs every now and then. We can get rid of all the old reviews that predate that. And then we can also look at, it probably won't be so relevant to the small business owners, but a change of branding. Okay. Why do we keep those old reviews up on the site? Well, not every business has a whole lot of reviews in the first place. So it's better consumer experience if you've got 10 to look at rather than 3. And I probably shouldn't say this, but I will. Google favours old content on the internet, so Google's own search bots going through like old pages. So it's an SEO play, in other words, from TripAdvisor to make sure that our pages are doing well on Google. The last thing that the algorithm looks at as a considerable component, if you like, is the average score. So I think that's pretty common sense. If your average score is 1, it's going to do you a lot less favours than an average score of 3 or 4. Okay, so once you're within the management centre and frustrating we've just overhauled the management centre, so it's a little bit different to what you're about to see here, but it's for the better. You can sign up for notifications and subscriptions. We send out lots of emails to our owner base to make sure they know how to do things, how-to guides, top tips. We also encourage you to sign up for an alert so you know every time a review has been left about your property. Why would you want that? Well, you might care to respond to it, especially in the case of one of those frustrating but negative reviews that you're going to get every now and then, and I'll talk about that in just a moment. There's also an ability to have a look at subcategories for your property. So I think, I'm guessing, in my experience, the room will be quite polarised, and there'll be a few of you that wish I wasn't here, and others that are TripAdvisor fans. We would like you to eventually think of those reviews as being free market research, customer feedback. So what you can see here is this property is actually able to have a look at the levels of service or cleanliness within business. Is there an opportunity for the bigger properties to get that into a KPI for the staff? If you can get 4 out of 5 over the period of a month or a couple of months, then there might be staff drinks, let's say. Within the management centre, you can also line yourself up against your main competitor, your arch enemy, the guy across the road, and just see how you're tracking against them. And then also that's benchmarked against what's happening in the town that you're in. So for most of you, it'll be Llanelli, Carmarthenshire, villages that I can't pronounce. So this is the management dashboard. This has actually just had a significant overhaul, and this is a really good snapshot of what's happening in your business. I'll just go through it really quickly. You can see the number of reviews that you've got from TripAdvisor, your ranking on the popularity index. You can see whether a recent review has come through, and will almost give you a nudge in the ribs or a kick in the ass, we say where I come from, to upload photos or respond to reviews if you haven't done that already. And then this is really, really interesting. We've actually enhanced this since the screen grab was taken, but we can also show you where the top visitor sources are coming for viewership on your site. So if you've got Japan up there at the top, that's really a bit of market research. So can you tailor your product offering to make it even more appealing to the Japanese market? So it's very, very interesting to see whereabouts in the world the people are who are looking at your property. Okay, so writing a management response. Who's written a management response before? Okay, so what I'm going to run through here is a few guidelines, I think. There's probably lots of businesses that don't realise that there is a capacity to write a management response, so that's the first point to get across. Second one is probably lots of people are a little bit intimidated about writing management responses because they're petrified that there'll be a he said, she said, I said, and you've got better things to do, huh? So in reality, your word is final when you write a management response, so I'm just going to show you some stats as to why you should, but just while I'm on the topic, family-friendly language, professional response, remind yourself that you're actually writing to a broader audience. You're not just writing to that rat bag, perhaps, who said horrible things about you. It's for, so, I don't know, have a cigarette, walk around the block, but really think about what you want to write before you do it. Why bother responding to reviews in the first place, I guess, is a logical question. So the audience out there, those 200 million unique visitors a month, say that responding to a review is important to them, so that's probably a good enough reason in itself. Those bad reviews that we all kind of hate, an appropriate management response to it will reassure the significant majority of people. I think it's very, very also important to take a step back every now and then And don't underestimate the intellectual bandwidth of the people that are using TripAdvisor. It's generally a higher socioeconomic group, people who've got money to spend, and one bad review against 10 isn't going to be disastrous for you. So looking for common themes, really. Interesting enough, seeing a hotel management response to a positive review or a neutral review makes people think more highly of the business owner. And then this is probably the most compelling stat of all, if you're thinking, well, I'm still not convinced I should be responding to reviews. If the customer is trying to decide between property A and B, who are ostensibly at the same price point, the same product offering, that they're more likely to go with the person that is responding to reviews than not. So that's not what I say, that's what our surveys say. Just another word of advice, perhaps, when responding to reviews. I think it's very, very important to definitely respond to all of the negative ones. Hopefully you don't get too many of those. With the positive ones, I think you want to be really, really selective about which of those reviews you respond to. So there's nothing, in my mind anyway, more boring than, "Dear Alistair, thank you very much for your kind words. We hope you come again," if that's cut and paste every time. I would encourage you to use it to try and upsell or cross-sell other product offerings that you have at your property. So if the comment or the review was about your lunch service or your dinner service, what about the new chef that you've got? What about the new menu that you might have? Do you do a packed lunch? So it's really an opportunity to upsell and cross-sell products, because don't forget, it's not just the person who wrote the review that's reading the response, it's that big global audience. Once you're within that management centre, just a few other basic things that you can do. So we would encourage you to write a description of your property and the amenities. Okay, so these are, in other words, the facilities that you've got. It's a really good opportunity to manage the expectations of potential guests. So if you're out in the countryside and it's bad mobile phone coverage and Wi-Fi is only in the front lounge, if you get that out there, then you're really mitigating or lessening the chance of getting a negative review from a business traveller who was disappointed for that reason. Photos, I know Nia probably has encouraged you over the last years to make sure that you've got lots of nice photos of your property. You can upload as many as you like in the management centre. Okay, so really get those on display and then pick one to be the primary image, and that will change periodically over the year to maybe reflect the seasons. We've got a whole lot of widgets. Okay, so widgets is a bit of a funny word, but little badges or plaques that you can embed on your site. And I'll just see if I can show you a few examples of those in the next few slides. So some of you may have won awards from us, Certificates of Excellence, Traveller Choice Awards, there's a whole lot. What we'd really encourage you to do, and hopefully you can see this well, is to try and display your last lot of reviews on TripAdvisor on the site. Why on earth would you want to do that? Some of you are asking. Well, the last thing that you want, if you've done all the hard work to get a consumer onto your own website, and you'll appreciate how difficult that can be, the last thing that you really want is them to go, "This looks good." Look, these are the owner's words. Which owner didn't say they had a good product? I want to go to TripAdvisor now and see what other consumers said. And once we've got that consumer, one of two bad things can happen, I guess. First of which, the worst one is they like you but like your competitor more and book with them. Or the other is that they do like your product but decide to book it through one of our booking partners, which means that you lose the consumer and pay a commission. Okay. We've actually got the ability for you to upload lots of those widgets onto your Facebook page as well, so lots of you have Facebook pages for your business, and you can chuck those on as well. I said the most important thing today, from my point of view, was to encourage you to take ownership of your listing on TripAdvisor. The other thing that I really want to stress to you is that we have a blog. Okay, so this is a website that we upload content to the whole time. I've really just been, I haven't even scraped beneath the surface really. If you're anything like me, you'll forget everything that I've said already once you get home. So this is full of tip sheets, how-to guides, relevant case studies, phone number to call the customer services team. So it's all here. If you don't have time to read it, make sure, well, I think you should find time, but if you can't, make sure that other people within your business are aware of it, and maybe you can kind of delegate. The last thing I'm going to talk about, and I'll do this really briefly, but this is just the part of the business that I work for, and it's only really relevant to serviced accommodation providers. So they're the two categories, if you like, that we've commercialised for quite some time. A business listing is an annual subscription, so everything that I've talked about thus far is free, free of charge. A business listing is the ability to jazz up, pimp your listing if you like. And I'll just kind of run through what you get for an annual subscription. The price varies depending on where you're located and the size of the property. The first thing you get for a business listing is the ability to display your contact details on your listing. So attractions, tours, venues, you're already getting this, but the ability for someone to pick up the phone and call you, or link straight through to your website, or to come through onto a deals page. So a direct connect, if you like. Otherwise, the only way for someone to book with you is through Booking.com, Expedia, which is fair enough, but there's a commission involved. Next thing you get, which is really, really important, is the ability to create and display a special offer. So special offer can be absolutely anything you like. It doesn't have to be accommodation centric, but it's something that you can get out there to distinguish your product offering from the guy down the road. So it might be a 3 for 2 kind of special, might be food and beverage credit, might be a free pickup from the train station, but whatever, something that makes your product more appealing than the next one. We give those special offers themselves amazing real estate throughout the site. So there's a dedicated special offer tab at the top of the popularity index in every city. Those special offers are clearly labelled on the popularity index itself. You can do a map-based search, so I know Llanelli is small compared to London, but in the city sometimes, where do I start? At least just show me the ones that are doing a deal. And then we put those special offers out on lots of our own marketing collateral that goes out to a huge database. Next thing you get for the business listings, the ability to have a call button on that mobile. So I don't want to drown you in numbers, but remember 45 million unique visitors a month on that mobile. I don't know if anyone's ever tried to put in their credit card details on a smartphone. It's not really happening. I wear glasses and I can't do it. People in reality are calling to fulfill. The lead time on mobile is normally a few days, desktop, weeks or months. And you can display a special offer on the mobile app as well. The other thing you get for a business listing is the ability to create and display an announcement. So out in the regions, you might be saying, well, please be aware our swimming pool is closed from this date to this date. Talked about having a new chef. We can use this quite commercially, so we've only got 3 rooms left for bank holiday weekend, book now to avoid disappointment, or best rates always guaranteed if you book directly. So an announcement can also be looked as a news alert, I guess. Last thing that you get is the ability to display all of the images that you've uploaded in a slideshow. So travellers take good photos, they also take really bad ones. When you've got a business listing, you can just display in a carousel the photos that you've uploaded, okay, with nice clear links back through to your website. So that's almost from me. I just want to do a recap, and then I'm sure lots of you got questions and answers for me. I'll be sat over here in a moment, and I'll be hanging around afterwards for those of you that want to ask me something offline because you might be too shy. So just at the risk of repeating myself, the most important takeaway today is to take ownership of your listing on the site. We're the world's largest travel website, 200 unique million visitors a month. It's not going anywhere. So hopefully try and use that popularity to your advantage. Take control of your content, so you've all got photos, you know what your product offering is, so write that description, it's free of charge. Talked about what influences that popularity index. So what can you do to maybe encourage guests to leave more reviews? Get those notifications on so when you know a review comes through, and then respond to it. My advice is to respond to all of the negative ones and pick a handful of the positive ones to use to your advantage to upsell or cross-sell. We've talked about the badges and the widgets, but try and keep someone on your site. Okay, so if your website isn't the cheapest avenue to market for you, then you need to reassess things. And then for service accommodation providers, a business listing might be something that you consider once you've got kind of all of the basics in place. So that's it from me, and I'll see you again in about half an hour's time.